Okay.
Yep. Welcome everyone to the GREENIN Network Plus launch webinar. So this is the first time we are meeting for the GREENIN Micro Network Plus. So this is an initiative which is funded by the GCARE, especially from the EPSRC. And this is a consortium project which is led by the Global Center for Clean Air Research at the University of Surrey in collaboration with the UKCH, University of Bath, University of Oxford, and University of York and Cranfield. So I've got my colleagues representing them. I will introduce them, later on. So just to say that what we're going to do in the next hour and a half is we got our opening speaker. So we will have Professor Sir Stephen Holgate. So pleasure to have him for providing opening remarks. And then I will introduce the network, its aims and objectives very briefly. Then we have got a session which will be led by my colleagues around the rapid reviews, the mini fellowships, and the Sandpit opportunities which network is going to offer. And then we got a fantastic session around Mentimeter polling, which will be done by our colleague, Professor Katherine, Denby, and Dr. Alana. And then we got two talks actually coming up with the who have been from our network collaborators. So they have been kindly offered us, their time to provide a little insight. And then we'll just, have the time for questions and answers to close the session. Just to say that the session will be recorded. So this will be put on the GREENIN Micro Network Plus YouTube channel. And we will share the recording with you in case if you miss part of it or you wanted to share with your colleagues. So, so without any further ado, I would like to introduce Professor Sir Stephen Holgate. So as you might know, Stephen has researched into mechanism and treatment of asthma and allied disorders with over 1,000 research publications. He's currently UK Research and Innovation Clean Air Champion and a special advisor to the RCP on air quality. He led the RCP 2016 report on every breath we take on air pollution. And in 2020, so there is another report for Inside Story. That's the report is called Inside Story on indoor air pollution. On 19th June 2025, UK Clean Air Day, he launched the update on the 2016 report, A Breathe for Fresh Air. And he was appointed CB in 2011 for contributions to clinical science and knighted in 2020 for medical research. It's such a pleasure to have you, Professor Sir Stephen Holgate. Over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Prashant, and hello everybody. It's a great privilege and a pleasure to be introducing this extraordinary and wonderful new network that's about to kick off. So I am a clean air champion, as you heard, but my background is one as a respiratory physician, a chest physician. So the breathed environment has been my everyday life for the last 40 years or so when I manage patients with various types of lung disease, particularly those connected to the environment, smoking, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, pulmonary fibrosis, etc. And I thought I'd start by saying that the breathed environment is a really crucially important part of the environment. And of course, our lungs are where most of the breathed environment ends up. And how much we interact with that breathed environment depends on our makeup and the various constituents within that environment. And as you can see, we take up to 17 to 30,000 breaths a day. And in that breathing, we have not only the wonderful oxygen that we need for living, but of course a whole variety of materials, some of which are natural, such as pollen grains, as you can see in this slide, but also air pollution and other factors beyond the chemicals and particles of air pollution, the so-called bioaerosol, which is made up obviously of allergens, of bacteria, viruses, and fungal elements. So this is a highly complex mixture. The reason I'm putting this all up really is that the place where a lot of this interface takes place is the indoor environment. And by that, I don't just mean the houses we live in, I mean the transport that we get around in, and also the places we go to school, university, or work. So the indoor environment is absolutely crucial in terms of the breathed environment. And sometimes it is referred to as the exposome because it contains such a wide variety of different materials. Could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So one of the things about the environment is where we spend most of our lives is, of course, within buildings. And if we take children, particularly from birth till they leave our homes, children spend a huge amount of time in the indoor environment, whether it's in our houses or within our schools. And it's really important what they breathe in. But of course, the other end of the population also lives in indoor buildings, the older people who are also potentially a vulnerable group. And the reason I put this slide up really is to make the point that our environment around us is changing as we urbanize, and we're losing the contact with the natural environment and the biodiversity that goes with it. And this new network, of course, is all about trying to bring into the indoor environment some of the things we are experiencing when we go into the outdoor environment. Not only the ability to interface with chemical pollutants, but also what the living natural environment through plants can actually put into the air that's beneficial. Next slide, please. Thank you. And so here we have some of the background science about the outdoor environment and the importance of the human microbiota or microbiome. And here we're looking at some analyses of the literature over many years, which have been synthesized into this review, showing without doubt that the exposure we have to the green environment outside has a major impact on the microbial content of us, whether it's in our lungs, our guts, or on our skin. And these microbial interactions are really important in protecting us or reducing our protection, depending on their makeup, to human diseases, particularly the non-communicable diseases. Though in indoor environments, of course, because we're sharing air that we breathe, we have direct passage of infectious agents as well between individuals. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this new initiative that you're all now taking part in is fantastic because we need to know where we can reap the benefits of bringing the greener outdoor experience inside buildings and to start looking at the interface between humans and plants as we have in our homes, workplaces and schools. And this is a really exciting new venture because it's not only about the chemical pollutants that we hope plants will help remove, but it's about plants putting things back into the atmosphere that we breathe, such that we have the protective aspects of the microbial environment that plants generate that can help us against certain non-communicable diseases like bronchial asthma and other diseases. Next slide, please. So this is obviously not just about the plants doing things, but the fact that plants are very pleasant things that we've grown up with over the millennia. And of course, plants help us to relax mentally as well as physically within our environments. And the setting out of our space where we live in buildings, plants can play a really important role in making us feel comfortable to create a nice warm atmosphere where interface with nature becomes natural and becomes an important part of our complex interface with the natural environment outside. Next slide, please. So it's a wonderful opportunity with this network to start setting up some new research in these areas. And GREENIN, which is this program you've all become part of now, is going to be transforming indoor environments in relation not only to what we have currently, but to the changing environment with climate change, which I'm sure you're going to discuss over the next hour and a half or so. And some of the projects, I'm sure, will have direct relevance to that. So I wish you every success with this. I really am excited by it. I'd love to hear more about it as you go forward. So can I wish you all luck and enjoy the next 2 years communicating with yourselves and making sure that by the end of it all, we have something useful to offer society as a positive signature that greening our environment indoors is as important as greening our environment outdoors. So over to you, Prashant, and I'll have to leave you at this point.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate all your time and providing some fantastic, the insight into it. So we can give possibly a big round of applause to our opening speaker.
Thank you very much. Most kind of you all. Thank you.
Okay, so I think we'll just move on with our agenda. So so I will try to kind of give a very brief overview of the network, what its aims are, what the activities are, and that will then follow up with some of the the activities and what are the opportunities for you to join as a member and or as a collaborator, in the network. So as I mentioned in the very beginning, so this is funded by the EPSRC. So this is called GREENIN Network Plus. So the full form is Greening the Indoors, transformation of indoor environments in a changing climate. So this is funded by the EPSRC, and I have a pleasure of leading it from the University of Surrey's Global Centre for Cleaner Research side, and we got the co-leads from these different institutions. And if you go to the next slide, please. So so this is basically the team. So they bring in a very diverse expertise, starting with myself, which having interest in the urban greening, indoor air quality, climate change. We got colleague Professor Kamaldeep Bui. So he comes from the University of Oxford, and he is a well-known health expert. Professor Nicola Carslaw, you might know her for her brilliant work in the indoor air quality. Professor Katherine Denby, another pioneer in the in the area, with Professor Lawrence Jones. So he has expertise in ecology and urban greening. Dr. Zaheer Nasar, well-known face when it comes to the bioaerosols and indoor-outdoor environments. Professor Sukumar Natarajan from University of Bath, well known for his work in urban design and a fantastic researcher in the area. And then we got Dr. Janice Young, who was originally at University of Bath. He has moved now to Germany. He's a fantastic researcher working around the environmental engineering interfaces. And then we got our network fellow, Dr. Hausen, and Charlotte Lee Dan. You might have heard from her a lot of emails, so working behind the scenes. And we will be soon having a network project officer who will be helping us to go through this interesting journey of the network. So that's the team. But the team has expanded with the number of researchers who have been, joining the team itself. So we got Dr. Alana, Kluczkovski, sorry if I didn't pronounce your name properly. My apologies. She's working with Professor Carslaw at University of York, Dr. Akash Biswal and Dr. Jitendra Sahani and Dr. Elisa. So they're working with me at the University of Surrey, but Elisa is also representing University Federal de Presento, and Dr. Helen Davis from University of York. By the way, this is open actually for our young researchers to join. So if any of you are interested, just drop us a line, and we would love to have you part of the GREENIN network, ECR, the team. Who will have a lot of opportunities to interact and participate in a number of activities which are being planned there. So just to say that we started the network with around 33 partners, which comes from local government, charities, international universities, businesses, including a number of UK and international universities there. They all have been formal partners and they feature on our, the network website. But at the same time, we wanted to expand the partners, across the time of the network. So if you are a businesses or representing any of these organizations are interested in joining the network, there are no sort of, the financial or any sort of responsibilities there. Please drop us a line and we will be very glad to bring you as part of the GREENIN, the family of the collaborators and the partners. And so so if you go next, somehow I can't see that on my screen. So just to say actually why we thought of GREENIN. So the whole idea there has been I personally have been doing a lot of work with urban greening, and there has been colleagues who have significant work in the area. So the idea which I was always passionate about was that, when you have the plants indoors, so we all have actually some sort of plants in our houses or in our offices or in the areas where we like the most. But did we ever think in the perspective that what these plants have been doing to our microenvironment, the microclimate? And since the climate change is happening, so environmental conditions are changing as well. So the whole idea of putting this network was to understand what plants can do for us or what do they do for us. So building that understanding, building the interaction between the indoor and outdoor greening. So let's say you got indoor plants, but you also got outdoors. How do they sort of, the impact? But at the same time, understanding, the microclimate under the changing environmental conditions and how they can contribute positively. And if there are any unintended consequences, whether we can be made aware of those consequences so that the informed decisions could be made. So this has been the whole philosophy of the GREENIN sort of, the network. Next slide, please. So the key questions then, we have, but there might be more which are included as part of the network, but there could be more which are not basically. But we thought that what potential does indoor greening hold for creating healthier spaces, and why is further exploration of this approach warranted? How do we innovative indoor greening techniques impact an indoor environmental quality? How does outdoor greening affect the indoor environment? What are the major engineering barriers for deploying indoor greening? So there are a few questions of that nature which we would be exploring as part of the network. If you can go next, please. So this also brings back really nicely to what our vision is. So we wanted to understand those questions, but at the same time, the bigger sort of the vision is, could we make use the indoor greening for climate-ready living? So when we say climate-ready living, means our environments are changing over time. So what sort of things these plants could contribute for that, for negate the impact of that negative change. So we wanted to kind of, the vision is to reimagining the indoor spaces to support health and well-being, unlock the potential of nature-based solutions. You can call them nature-based solutions, or you can call them indoor greening, which is largely untapped, and creating healthier and more resilient, the building through interdisciplinary research on indoor plants and greening. So, so the aims in specifically, this is built around 4 different themes. The one is, the first thing first is it's a network project. So we'll be doing some research, but not really doing a lot of research. So that's what we want all of you to be part of it, by building a network of multidisciplinary specialists. So everyone is welcome, whoever has interest, no matter what background they come in, to join the network as a member. Conduct collaborative studies to expand our knowledge of the indoor greening. So we got some mechanism put in the proposal, and we'll talk about that will allow us to conduct some research, creating practical guidelines for building design and management professionals, because that's really important to bring the science into some sort of actionable the inputs there, and then promote a wider use of greening to enhance building environments and public health. So these were like 4 sort of key aims of the network. If you can go next, please. And then we will focus on the four sort of key focus areas. The one is understanding the indoor environmental challenges when it comes into the context of the urban greening, evaluating the potential of the indoor greening, because so we know that, if you fill like the whole house with the plants, you're not going to, the problem of the indoor environmental quality is not going to go away. So there is always a balance. And to understand that balance better, we need to understand what is the potential, what are the pros and what are the cons. So this is one of the key objectives of this, the network. And then obviously this is a network, so engagement and the knowledge exchange is key, where we wanted to work with the resident designers, co-design, the solutions in terms of the policy briefs and guidances. And obviously that aligns well with the government's net zero and the environmental justice and public health agenda. And then obviously one of the challenges is that we know what are the challenges in the indoor environmental quality context, but then how we can integrate greening to make things better rather than making them worse, and to what extent actually that could be feasible. So these are the themes which we have built around, and we'll be working around those themes. So if you can go next, please. So basically, the whole approach, if you try to put it together, so the whole idea is whether we can bring together the multidisciplinary thinking from a systems perspective. So we're not just looking for, let's say, one sort of an area, which could be just the air pollution. We wanted to understand the other features like thermal comfort, the bio, the bio microbiome, in the environment, also thinking about the energy efficiency, health and well-being. So acoustics, which is another sort of an issue, and the thermal comfort. So there are a number of these, these challenges. We wanted to think from, the multidisciplinary sort of, the perspective, and incorporating the visual appeal and human requirements in indoor greening design means what could be the design considerations. So that would be another thing. Upscaling and outscaling, actually, that's really important. So we'll have a specific focus on the DIY approaches, which is really relevant in this context, because if you are having a home, you definitely wanted to do certain things, around your home in terms of the plants and all. So what could be the DIY approaches to make things, for yourself, while working with the industrial collaborators. So there are a number of collaborators already involved, and we will be looking to expand that pool so they can also help actually with the, with the indoor greening agenda. And obviously, as you can think from the perspective of leveraging existing investment. So there are a lot of activities which are going around in the area to try to bring them together, but also then bringing some new ideas and build some new ideas together for future projects. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of the activities, now we got these 6 enabling activities you can see on the right-hand side. So this is building the network, working groups and rapid reviews, feasibility studies via Sandpits, DIY indoor greening design and solutions, and fostering multidisciplinary thinking and the dissemination there. So this is how do we achieve them? So we got the in terms of the dissemination, we got the webinars. So these webinars have been starting from this month, and they will keep going for 24 months. And they are usually on first Wednesday of the month during the lunchtime, and usually have 2 speakers. So we'll provide that information in more detail. And we're looking for the speakers. So in fact, if you are interested in being one of the speakers, so this is another invitation for you to send us an email, and we'd love to have you as part of our webinar series. And they all are recorded, so they go onto the YouTube channel. So it means that it's a fantastic resource for people to follow. And it's a fantastic opportunity for you to really exploit the potential of your research by sharing with others. We got some funding pots. So we'll be having workshops, and we'll be running little calls where you can apply. But if you're interested in doing something, just again send us an email, and we'll be happy to look into that. We'll be launching 4 rapid reviews, which are led by some of our program, the co-leads. And we'll talk about that in more details later on. And one of the bigger chunk of the money is going to go into the funded projects. And this project funding will be open to everybody. And there will be a call around it. I will be having the Sandpit activities. So if you are having an interesting project in mind and you feel that, oh, by the way, this project will really be supported by the network, I would encourage you to keep those ideas and keep developing those ideas. And when the opportunity comes in, we'd love to have your application and support, that initiative in this particular area. To provide opportunities to our ECR, so we also got the few fellowships costed into it, so that can allow them to travel, work with any collaborator, which could be industrial collaborator, academic collaborators, whoever they like actually to work with. And there will be a call which will be opening up at some point, and we're talking about that in a little more detail. So these are some of the key activities. Apart from that, there is a big chunk of the work is going to go on connecting with you, with the people. So I would urge you to join, follow us on LinkedIn. So there is a LinkedIn Green Network Plus. If you Google, then you can find out on the LinkedIn. We are all also on the X, so you can see the handle there, and also on the Blue Sky. So we'd love to have you joined and followed up those accounts so you can see the updates. At the same time, we'll be producing the newsletters, which will allow you to see what are the opportunities for funding and other collaboration. But these newsletters will only go to the members. So if you wanted to receive those newsletters, you might want to join as a member. The link is there on the GREENIN website on the top of it. And the website is there, which is fully functional. And a lot of this, these activities will be on the GREENIN Micro Network Plus YouTube. So in case if you miss something, so we'll try to provide that information so you can have a look in your own time. Next, please. So how you can get involved, as I said, we'll have the workshop. So we'll be sending invitations to that, and especially using the members. So whoever the members joining, so we'll have the database and we'll invite them. So that's what it's important to become a member of the network, which is for free. It's a short form. You don't lose anything. You only get the those emails which provides you the updates on that. Participate in Sandpits would be really important because you can have an opportunity to get some funded activity to deliver in collaboration with the network. Webinars, so signing up for the webinars would be really good. We will be sending those to our members there as well. And as I said, we usually have every first Wednesday of the month, 2 speakers, 50 minutes each, is quick and short. And, we'll be trying to bring the speakers which come from industry, but also from the government and the local organizations. So they would not really be just the academic webinars. We wanted to make them wide, the open for anybody who is working in this domain and has got something, interesting to share with us. So everyone is welcome, no matter at what level you are and what organizations you belong to. So this is a network where we wanted to be inclusive and wanted to have everybody in there. Fellowship Academy, we'll talk about that. So there will be some opportunities of fellowship, and we'll also be planning some big full-day engagement event in person where we'll send invites and we'll try to kind of, that will be planned, and the dates, going forward. Next, please. So, so if you have your phones, you might want it to just for a ready reference on the LinkedIn, X, Blue Sky, and your website. So these are the barcodes there, but they are also there on the on the bottom of this slide. You can see the handle there. So we'd love to have you join our the social media platforms. And tag us actually whenever you're doing any activity, or if you are doing anything so you want us to post through the network, the handles, please forward those, send us an email with the material, and we would love to have you. If you do link us, then or tag us in your post, then we will also be able to, promote and boost actually your post. So we'd love to have you there. So I think I have basically given a overview of the network, and I mentioned some of the key activities there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass on the floor to my colleague, Professor Nicola Carslaw from University of York. You might know her. for her work in the indoor quality. We have got a theme around the rapid reviews, and she's going to just talk very briefly about what these rapid reviews are, how we set this up, and how you can get involved, because there will be working groups around these rapid reviews. So you're most welcome to join them. But you will have an opportunity to join those groups through the membership form as well, where we have already identified these areas. So, Professor Nick Carslaw, are you there?
I am, yes.
Okay, so I will pass the floor to you then. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Okay, Charlotte, the next slide, I think, please. Great, thank you. So as Prashant said, we are going to have a series of rapid reviews, and these are based around 4 topics. So what we've tried to do is to kind of divide up those questions into 4 areas. So the first one, it's all around the mechanisms. So that would be the mechanisms by which plants remove pollutants from air, but also release pollutants into air. Things like how they affect humidity, how the microbes in the soil might be playing a part. So it's very mechanistically driven. The second one is all around monitoring and modelling approaches for indoor greening. So basically how we go about measuring the impacts. Then we have a rapid review that will be based around health and well-being, and that will explore more of the kind of mental health issues, I guess. As well as thinking about the physical impacts of plants indoors, we can also think about the mental health impacts as well. And then the final one is much more future looking in terms of what we can do to optimize indoor green infrastructure, what sort of plants we might need, what sort of densities, what sort of strategies we have for different types of buildings as well. So there's 4 very separate topics. So as Prashant said, we're looking for people to volunteer to get involved with these. So I'm leading the first one, Prashant's leading the second one, the third one is being led by Sukumar, and the final one there is being led by Katherine and Alana. So this information will all become available, but please reach out to us if you would like to get involved. So there will be a workshop for each of these topics, and also the leads of each of these rapid reviews will be framing the kind of questions that we think we need to be addressing in each of these rapid reviews, and obviously we'll be after input from others towards how we finesse that framework for each of the papers. So we will be meeting bi-monthly as groups once we start working on these reviews, and the aim of the reviews is to provide state-of-the-art evaluation. So maybe not exactly a systematic review, but something like a systematic review. And then obviously the information that comes from these rapid reviews will be published, but also inform those kind of Sandpit studies that we want to do as well, and the case studies. And then all of these activities are funded through the network. So there will be a bit of funding available to support each of these rapid reviews, so that we can maybe pay people to do literature reviews, for instance. Okay, I think that's it, Prashant, from me.
Hey, thank you very much. So thank you very much. It's very helpful, very well explained, Nick. We got the second sort of strand of the work is under the opportunities is the mini fellowships. So I've got my colleague, Dr. Zaheer Nasar from Cranfield University. So he's going to explain a little bit more about this opportunity. So Zaheer, if you're around, over to you.
Thanks, Prashant. So can I have the next slide, please? So I'll quickly, as Prashant has already mentioned, that one of the opportunities of engagement is the mini fellowships. So in the next sort of 4 to 5 minutes, I'll give you a quick overview of what is this and what are the objectives and how you can apply for that. So for a mini fellowships, to begin with, the overall sort of idea is this, that these will be available to help fund our UK-based GREENIN members. So again, I will echo that please do become a member, because that will open a door for you to get engaged into loads of these activities. And these are there to facilitate the discipline hopping. And discipline hopping means that we are keen, so basically to sort of provide an opportunity to provide a link between academic and non-academic collaborations. And that will then lead to transfer and exchange of research and knowledge. and that could be on the topics on the indoor greening initiatives within the GREENIN project scope. And in terms of our overall aims and objectives, these are to encourage and foster the collaboration among our academics and range of societal partners. So it means that people could come from industry, city authorities, NGOs, or any other organization where they think that they have an idea and they want to sort of collaborate either from industry to academic colleagues or from academia. Opportunities are there for as well to discipline hope and go down to the other societal partners, including the policy partners as well. That involves the government-related departments. And in terms of eligibility, as I mentioned, they should be available to all the UK-based members. And we will emphasize and prioritize for our early career researchers. And one of the other things we will be keen to looking into that it should demonstrate the cross-disciplinary knowledge sort of sharing domain. Next slide, please. And in terms of the process, how it will work, we will have overall 4 of these mini fellowships to offer, and the call will open soon to apply for these mini fellowships. So please do keep an eye on our newsletters as well, and this will be advertised through all the other channels that we are using for the dissemination for GREENIN activities. We will be funding 4 of these fellowships, and these will be awarded through a competitive process. So all the detail about the application process will be provided when the call to apply goes live, And in the end, because they are, in terms of the duration will be 4 weeks for each of the fellowship. And once for the successful sort of fellowships, in terms of what is your responsibility and what we are expecting in terms of, like, let's say the reporting our responsibility is that each of the fellow would then create a blog post and a short video that should be summarizing the key activities those were done through those fellowships. And also, there will be a requirement that they share their experience at the network events that probably through our sort of webinar or any other network engagement event that we are organizing. So that's all about the mini fellowships.
Thank you very much, Zaheer, for a very comprehensive overview of this opportunity. So as Zaheer said, please do sign in for the membership, and this call we will be launching very soon. So this would be an opportunity for our ECRs to also keep thinking about whether you wanted to, who do you want you to do those, those mini fellowships with. So it could be councils, government organizations, academic organizations, industrial partners. So as I said, we would like to keep this open actually for, anywhere you feel that would benefit the most. So the next in line about the opportunities are the big chunk of, the funding, which will be made available to the network members. Again, this is another opportunity for members to be part of this. So this will be one of the criteria for considering the members of the network to be eligible for this funding. So I'm going to pass on to my colleague, Professor Sukumar Natarajan. So he comes from University of Bath, and he will explain about this opportunity. Over to you, Sukumar.
Thanks, Prashant. And yeah, as Prashant has said, becoming a network member is dead easy. You just have to fill in a form. So it is quite an open and wide remit. It's a very welcoming and inclusive community. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm based here at the University of Bath, and I run a research center called RENEW, which stands for the Center for Regenerative Design and Engineering for a Net Positive World. So the remit of my center and the network are very, very closely aligned. So I'm very, very delighted to be part of this. Next slide, please. Okay, so as Prashant mentioned, the goal is to have funding for Sandpits. It's about £120,000, and we want to fund work under 3 different themes. And these are really meant to be feasibility scale studies. So you're looking at about maybe 30 to 40,000 pounds per proposal, and it must be undertaken using normal UKRI costing methods. So the three themes are testing novel indoor greening concepts, and there might be sort of fundamentals around new conceptual underpinnings around indoor greening, essentially. The second one is to look at the performance of these ideas over time. So if you already have the seed of an idea, to actually explore how the performance of these things varies, maybe between over a day or over seasons, that kind of thing. And the third is to actually bring it together in terms of practical applications. So essentially using indoor plants for pollution mitigation and those sorts of things. So they are intersecting themes, I think it's fair to say, but hopefully that's some clarity on what the three themes are. Next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, so this is a bit more detail on what these three themes are. So the first one, as I said, is establishing proof of concept and assessing the potential for upscaling and outscaling. The second one is sort of investigating the benefits of indoor greening and the time dimension, as I've said already. And the third one, there's some examples there for you to read around indoor vertical growing or assessing the impact of indoor plants and so on. So next slide, please. So this is how the money will be managed. As I said, 30 to 40,000 pounds each. You need to obviously do the normal justifications for why you need, what you need, etc. A key issue is that all projects will need to integrate end user perspectives and use a co-design approach to building the proposals, and we will be following FEC guidelines. Next slide, please. So how the funding will be managed is through a workshop, which will be announced fairly soon. And the idea of this workshop is that it will be organized by a Sandpit development group, which is from within the network steering committee. And we will invite a wide range of actors to the workshop, which will include ECRs, as you've already gathered. ECRs are quite an important, but not the exclusive focus of the network. We will also invite mid-career academics and experienced academics, as well as a series of non-academics to come to the Sandpit workshop. And the goal of that workshop will be to actually discuss, debate in subgroups or in plenary, the sorts of studies that we will need around the three themes that I've just introduced a few minutes ago. And approximately a month after the workshop, essentially allowing us to consolidate the information and the thoughts and ideas from the workshop, approximately a month after, there'll be an open call for the actual proposals. And just as a reminder, Prashant showed some cross-cutting themes early on in this presentation, and each of these proposals will need to address these cross-cutting themes. And the proposals will be assessed by a panel containing an independent chair, people from the network itself, so the network steering committee, partners, stakeholders, and also representations from ECRs. And criteria will be around the fit to the themes. Obviously, those are the three themes I've said, and the fit to the cross-cutting objectives. Whether or not there is ECR involvement in the projects, and we expect, I think, at least one to be ECR-led, for one of these projects to be ECR-led. And then the normal criteria around the scientific novelty, potential for impact. We also are looking for multidisciplinarity and value for money. And again, those are very standard UKRI type assessments. So I think watch this space. The announcements, the formal announcements for all of these activities will be forthcoming. So if you've signed up to the network, to any of the media channels, you should hear about when these various elements will start coming together. So with that, thank you very much.
Perfect. I think so. We got a exciting part of the web now, which is much more interactive. The Mentimeter polling, and we wanted to take this opportunity of picking up your brains in terms of what do you think could be the topics for the Sandpit. You know, the calls we wanted to advertise at some point. So I'm going to pass on to my colleague, Professor Katherine Denby and Alana, to take forward this session. So over to you both.
Great, thanks, Prashant. I think Alana will be is in the driving seat. So she'll just be sharing some slides. So basically we're using Mentimeter, which is very straightforward. So you can either do it on your computer, if you go to menti.com and enter the code that's on the screen there, or if you've got your phone, just use the QR code. Alana, you need to get it into presentation view. You need to present. Yeah.
Is it working for you? Can you see
well,
that?
It's still in your screen. I don't know whether you can do view full screen or.
Let me stop sharing.
Otherwise, it'd be okay. I mean, yeah.
No, I think that is the way of doing this.
Okay, that's fine. I think some people have already signed up, so that's great. We'll just give them time to yeah, as I say, either go to menti.com and enter that code, or take a screenshot with your the QR code with your phone.
I've just put on the chat as well.
Great. We've got the numbers are going out. We'll just give it a couple of seconds, I think, for people to sign up. Over 30 people. Because it's be good to get everybody's as many people's input as possible. Okay. Oh, speeding up. The number of people is still like going up quite a lot. We've now got 46. So we'll just wait to get signed up when it stops.
It says that it's not working. Someone on the chat, it says that it's not working on the computer. So maybe if you have a phone and you can use the QR code, it's easy for you. So then you can still see the presentation and do the voting on your phone.
Yeah, I tried as well. So it's showing me the screen saying that please join by scanning the QR code. And then when you do that, it takes back to the same place.
Okay, so I mean, 56 people are in. So hopefully, if you use your phone rather than your computer, that will be fine. Just scan the QR code or go to the website.
Actually, it's the same problem with the phone as well, which is quite strange. Actually, some people have managed to do that.
58 people are in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it myself.
Yeah, you could see some of the messages coming in as well from colleagues somehow.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Is it the browser issue?
No, that's fine. You've got that first screen. As soon as Alana turns to the next slide, you'll see the next slide. So you're all fine. Okay, Alana, I think you could go to the next slide.
Alana?
Yeah, I'm clicking, but it's not going.
I thought you checked this, that it worked.
I've checked, yeah.
Yeah, it was working. It was working an hour ago.
Technology, right? So you can't trust.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe unshare, go to the next slide and share again.
Yeah, let me stop.
And it will change on people's people's phones.
Share.
There's only 3 slides, so it shouldn't be too bad. So you're on the same one, Alana. You need to go forwards a slide.
Is it? I need to ask this one.
You should be in present. You have to be in present mode.
Presenting Teams present. So we've tested that. So it should be.
That looks better. That looks good. Now go forward. Yeah, now it's worked. Yeah, everyone's got on their phones.
Sorry. Right. Yeah, all fixed now.
So basically, you should be able to vote of which of the 3 focus areas you find the most exciting, and try and just vote for one.
This is amazing, right? In the real time, you could see.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for
And then
doing
you
this.
get, at the end, you can, I mean, we've only got 3 slides, but at the end, you just get a PDF of the responses. That is 36 people have managed it. Let's give a couple of more seconds.
For this one, for example, people can vote only once. So we see that is 41. So it's 41 votes in different different topics, different subjects.
Okay. Anything? I hadn't looked at the chat. Is everybody okay? Everyone says it's working. Yeah. Okay, it's just. I think you could probably turn on a slide. I don't think we've had any more answers for a little bit, Alana.
And then as it stopped again. Ah, there it is.
So now we're asking you to rank these, so you can put them all in, pull them up on your phone into the order that you think of them in terms of the most important for the feasibility study.
So at this stage, we've got 5. So their votes are coming up. So, but these are based on the previous slides presented, based on the subjects that we were talking about from the workshops and the Sandpit ideas, pre-made ideas that we've discussed within the team. And then if you can rank which ones are the preferred for you in terms of order. And then we're going to have on the next slide opportunity to add more ideas to this.
Great, thanks for that.
It looks like indoor air and filtration is on top one now.
Still getting some responses.
Yeah.
And well, if you've done this, think about other ideas you have, because on the next slide, as Alana says, we can input other ideas that for these feasibility sandpit studies. Still going up. It's certainly a quicker way of getting people's views rather than going around everyone individually. Wait a little bit, because we usually get about 40 odd responses. If you have an issue with the menti.com and haven't been able to respond, please send Prashant or any of us an email with your thoughts. We're always happy to have other ideas after the webinar as well.
Perfect. It looks like we reached to the 42 number now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think let's move forwards.
One more.
Oh yeah, one snuck in.
That's the last one. So
yeah, here just add any. You'll see them come up as people add other sort of study ideas that you'd like to see. Yeah, as undertaken in a sandpit.
Oh, sorry, messed up.
Yeah, you just need to go back to the Mentimeter so we can see what's coming in.
Mentimeter. Sorry.
There we go. That's all right. Great.
So ideas on something in relation to community engagement and co-production. Focus on succulents, interesting. Probably cross collaboration.
And just to say, you can submit multiple ideas for this one. So please don't limit yourself to one thought. Add in whatever ideas you come up with.
Impact on mental health, interesting. Size of new buildings in this space for indoor plants. Impact on human behavior, similar. Incentives or policies from local government, interesting. Oh, there's lots of ideas coming up. That's really helpful.
Prashant, I don't know how we're going to sort of take these ideas forwards, whether maybe we'll group them into sort of areas and perhaps then have a bit of a looking at similar topics and perhaps a sandpit. I guess one sandpit might cover sort of similar topics to finalise what the final project is. Is that what you're envisaging?
Yes, I think this is a very useful information we are getting through our participants here. So and this also gives us pretty good idea in terms of where the Sandpit project could look like. But as you rightly said, if you can possibly classify them or categorize them into a few categories, these additional the answers we are getting, then we can look collectively into the first two questions and what are these, and that could possibly build the themes of our Sandpits.
Okay.
Just check the chat.
Perfect. We only got 28. So last time around we had 42. So guys, please put your thoughts in. Although it looks to me that we got more than 42 responses in this particular case, given the fact that some colleagues might have put more than one.
More than one.
Yeah. Still going up. So just takes longer to type.
I will scroll down slowly so people can have a look on what is on the screen.
It's great that so many people to try and get the input from 40 people has been brilliant. So thanks for taking part in the Mentimeter. And it's been great to capture your thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, but some of them could also form some of these activities in terms of being part of our webinar topics, part of the ECR fellowships. When people might be interested in that. So this is a fantastic information from our colleagues here.
I think we can. That's great, Alana, scrolling through.
Yeah.
I think we've probably captured most of the responses now, Prashant, if you want to,
Charlotte,
move on to the next thing. Thank you, everyone, and we'll share the results around.
Perfect.
So
this was incredibly interesting, and I really enjoyed actually seeing those votes in real time and seeing things changing in there. So we are grateful for two of our collaborators from the network for giving a short talk on the work they've been doing in this particular domain. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. James Thomas, who is the co-founder and technical director of Urban Form. With a background in computational biochemistry and high-performance computing, he led the development of Urban Form's pioneering urban vertical form and now oversees the company's technical activities and research activities into innovative and sustainable ways to grow food in urban environments. So the findings are used to deliver robust and efficient systems for urban food production with integrated educational outreach programs that aim to engage and inspire people to become more aware of the need for a more sustained approach to food production and consumption. We talked about the indoor greening. We touched upon very briefly about how this indoor greening could also produce food, actually, which is a fantastic topic. And I will going to pass on to Dr. Jane Thomas to elaborate. And so the fantastic work they have been doing in this particular domain. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Prashant. It's a real pleasure and privilege to be here. And this network is so relevant to what we do. So what I'm going to hope to do in the next few minutes is just explain who Farm Urban are, why we do what we do, and how it links into the GREENIN network. So I'll start with the why. So next slide, please. So we believe that we're on the brink of a human-led transformation to a more sustainable future, and that by 2050, our towns and cities will have become greener, healthier, and more inclusive. So basically, we believe we're moving from the image on the left, which is the urban jungle that's not good for people, not good for planet, to something that's more like on the right, where cities are these vibrant, biodiverse places that support people and support the wider environment. So that's kind of the vision that's driving us. Next slide, please. And kind of our journey started through an interest in permaculture, and that led us to discover aquaponics. So aquaponics is a way of growing fish and plants together in a closed loop ecosystem. So fish, the waste from fish contains ammonia that can be oxidized by natural bacteria into nitrate, and nitrate is an organic plant fertilizer. So you can take that nitrate-rich water and you can grow plants in it hydroponically. So the plants get this amazing organic fertilizer, but the fish then get clean water, so you don't need to clean the water for them. So it's an example of a circular economy, a closed loop system, and that's really what's inspired us going forward. And growing hydroponically, we can grow it in very, very high density. And with the advent of LED lighting, we can grow right in the heart of cities, we can grow in basements. And the system you see there is a small kind of aquaponic system we've developed and we use in our schools programs. Next slide, please. So this is we're one of the longest running urban farming companies in the UK. And this image is of our first farm, which is in a basement under a school. We've now moved to a warehouse just a little bit further up the river on the Mersey in Liverpool. And the model that we're most interested in is small scale farms, not huge factory farms that are outside of a city, but small farms that are linked to their local community, that are providing a need for providing really fresh, nutritious food. And we've actually been working with Katherine Denby at York to improve the nutritional quality of our produce, but getting that nutritious produce into the communities that need it most and providing jobs for those communities. So that's really what drives us. Now, next slide, please. And we're really fortunate that all of our produce currently is funded to go to food banks. And through that, we've seen the incredible power that this food has and the engagement and impact that it can have. So the boxes that we donate is living lettuce, and we often have engagement activities that we do around that. But it's seeing the impact on people and how it changes their relation to food and their attitudes that's really driven us forward. Next slide, please. And that's actually why a key part of what we do is education. So probably half of our activity is in education, and that's through our Roots and Shoots brand. And we have 3 separate programs that we run. So we have Future Food Heroes, which is a program for primary school children using that little aquaponic system you saw. We have the Future Food Challenge, which is our flagship program where we take secondary school pupils, we get them to form their own little social enterprise. So we teach them entrepreneurship skills, and then they design and build their own aquaponic system for their local community, and then they come back to us and they pitch it in a sort of Dragon's Den style competition. And that's been amazing. We've seen pupils that wouldn't have gone to university decide to go to university, and we've kind of changed their whole career progression through doing this course. And we also have kind of community growing projects, which is more based on adults and teaching them how to grow in their communities. Next slide, please. So this is kind of where we bring everything together, and this is where I think our closest links to the GREENIN project. So these are our small scale edible walls. So these are small green walls that grow living produce, and we install these in corporate settings, so in receptions in buildings. We install them in community centres, and the idea of this is to bring green infrastructure into the workplace, into people's homes, so that they can directly engage with it. So there are numerous studies showing the psychological benefits of green infrastructure, but these are cleaning the air. But really what they're doing is engaging people with food, so people can harvest the food directly. And it's a great way to spark conversations about food sustainability, about health and well-being. And actually, when we install these, we try not to just install them and walk away. We have a whole series of monthly engagement sessions that we run, look at everything from yoga, breath work, but really engaging people around these walls. Next slide, please. And just another thing that may be of interest here is that we've developed our own open source sensing and control systems for these walls, and we measure and monitor the air quality and the impact of these systems on the environment. So that's something that we've just developed internally. Next slide, please. And this is just to finish, to give you kind of an idea of the kind of vision that's driving us. So this is what we call our urban oasis, and this is a project that we've been developing with some councils and developers, and it's bringing all the stuff that we do together. So it's hydroponic growing, it's soil-based growing, but centered around a food and beverage offering that's offering subsidized produce to the local community. But you've also got maker spaces, you've got a tool library. So it's becoming a community hub, bringing people together around food, but bringing cleaning the air and also having biodiversity in that game. So we've got beehives on there as well. So this is a way of bringing everything that we do together in a place-based solution. Next slide. So yeah, so that's hopefully given you a very quick kind of whistle-stop overview of what we do. But having seen the network and all the work that's going forward, I'm just really excited to be involved in seeing how the amazing research can impact what we can do, and we can work with the research. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. This is fantastic work, and I'd love to have one of them possibly in my office, so you can have a salad for the lunch. There's always a complaint from the home side that you don't eat enough salad. So this is really good, actually. It's a good motivator. Yeah. So thank you very much for providing that information and showing your work, basically the fantastic work. So the next talk we have is Professor Christian Pfrang from University of Birmingham. You heard about the industrial side, so we're gonna look into now a little bit of the academic side. So Christian, just to introduce very quickly, so Christian Pfrang studied chemistry at Munich, Oxford, and Berlin before his DPhil in physical and atmospheric chemistry with Professor Richard Vaughan at the University of Oxford. Following his stints at European Centre at Medium Range Weather Forecast and in the Department of Geology at Royal Holloway, University of London, Professor Pfrang took up a tenure track RCUK fellowship in the chemistry department of the University of Reading in 2007. In 2018, he moved to the School of Geography, Earth and Environmental Sciences at the University of Birmingham, where he chairs the atmospheric science. Professor Pfrang's core expertise is atmospheric chemistry of aerosols, developing novel experimental and modeling tools, often involving large-scale facilities, but he also has research interest in indoor air quality, urban greening, and the wider implications of air pollution and climate change. So without any further ado, over to you, Christian.
Thank you very much, Prashant. And thank you very much for the nice introduction. And it's great to be part of this network. So next slide, please. Yeah, so that's just giving a little bit of a frame of, I think much of this has been covered already, but if you think about your indoor private space or a home, you have different emission sources. You have cooking emissions, you have emissions in the bathroom, so particulate matter, VOCs. You have human emissions, illustrated here with carbon dioxide, CO2, as well as nitrogen dioxide, which, unless you have a gas hop, will mostly be the ingress of traffic pollution from outdoors. Next, please. And we have done quite a lot of work on cooking emissions, looking at mechanistic details. We had a couple of recent grants looking at indoor air quality, but I'm not going to talk about these. We also did some work on indoor plants and how they can help specifically or not with carbon dioxide and NO2. If you click next, we'll get some. Yes. Again, please, and one more. Yeah, next slide. Thank you. And we started off with a literature review looking at what the potential building services are of indoor plants. And we could see quite clear evidence that there is information about the impact on productivity, on general well-being, some study on surgical recovery times, but quite limited information about what plants can do in terms of removing carbon dioxide, quantitatively at least, and whether they can affect relative humidity, as well as removing pollutants such as NO2. Next slide, please. And that motivated us to set up quite a simplistic experiment. We basically put a potted plant into a box, and then we exposed this plant to these two different pollutants, carbon dioxide, CO2, and NO2 separately. And then we basically measured what happens. Next slide, please. And quite a lot of work went into trying to get quite reproducible results, which was only possible thanks to the RHS, Tiana Planusha, making sure that we have very consistent growing conditions. So that's a huge challenge, actually, to get consistent results. We use specifically plant species that are easily available in the UK to get an idea of real-world implications. Next slide, please. And these are the results for carbon dioxide removal. So what we were looking for were large positive numbers on this plot. So this is all the different plant species under ambient, so indoor light conditions without any additional light. And you can see that most of the plants actually don't remove CO2. Some do a little bit, but if you click on the next slide, you can see that the performance indoors compared to outdoors is extremely limited. So the message here is under ambient light conditions indoors, you will have a very, very limited effect on CO2 removal. We looked in that more closely. If you, next slide, please, where we compared the typical indoor light levels on the left-hand side with the red kind of lines. And then if you move towards additional complementary lighting indoors, you could reach this gray area, and outdoor light level is on the right-hand side. And you can see that the key is really the light availability indoors to have any significant effect for CO2. Next, please. Now looking at NO2, next slide. So here, just very briefly in the few minutes, showing that NO2 removal is happening. So this is showing all the different plant systems under wet and dry conditions over a 1 hour period. We can see how NO2 is being removed. We clearly found that it's not just the plant, it's the plant substrate system. So you need to look at the effect of the soil or whatever substrate the plants are grown in as well, because under most circumstances, this effect is very significant, whereas the plant itself has a smaller effect. So I don't have time to talk through the details, but the next slide gives a little overview how we kind of made a very rough attempt to estimate if you would put 5 of these potted plants into different sized rooms, how much could it reduce NO2 potentially? And you can see that in most cases, we have a tiny office, like 15 cubic meters versus 100 cubic meters. We have two different concentrations of NO2. And only for very poorly ventilated spaces and very small spaces would you see a significant difference through potted plants. So clearly, the effect is very limited. And that was basically where we got to with this project. But we have now started a new project looking at active indoor green walls. If we look at the next slide, please. Because there you have the advantage that you first of all have a higher density of plants, and also you can control the airflow. So if you have a high air exchange rate with the outside, as I've shown on the previous slide, the effect of indoor plants that are just in a static environment will be negligible. If you click, you should see how these systems work. So you have different setups, but basically you have plants and you have a ventilator somewhere, and you suck the air past the plant and the substrate, and then the idea is that you have filtered air coming out on the other side. So that's work that's currently ongoing. Next slide. One particular challenge with NO2 is that there are very few studies on long-term effects. So we really need to understand the mechanistic detail, what does happen in the substrate, because you can have impacts on plant health, such as nitric acid formation, and that has not really been looked at. So that's another aspect we are keen to resolve very soon. Final slide. So in summary, we've started off with looking at potted plants. We can see some effects on NO2 and removal and humidity increase. Carbon dioxide removal is very strongly light dependent. Active indoor green walls could offer a substantially enhanced cleaning performance, but of course then you need to consider the energy input. So you need light, you need air pumps as well, and the long-term effect of NO2 uptake needs to be looked at mechanistically. And acknowledgements on the next slide. So the work I've presented was all PhD work by Curtis Gupp and supported by Tiana and Alistair at the RHS. And the work with the active indoor green wall, which is happening right now, is being carried out by Marianne Barnard. And we have a soil scientist on board with Professor Semi Ula as well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. It's a fantastic presentation, and thanks for your time. I know that the colleagues have been very busy, so give a big round of applause to both our speakers. They have done a fantastic job there. So I believe that we got a few minutes for the questions and answers. So maybe either you could just raise your hand, or you could just write your question into the Q&A box, which you might see on your screen. And we can answer it, either me or one of our speakers there. So let's see if we get
Maria.
Okay, so let's go with.
I've enabled your microphone, Maria. You should be able to.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick one to the last to Christian. Is your conclusions about CO2 and light across many plants? I know you saw some species, but some plants actually they don't want to be next to the window. So effectively, plants that grow in shade naturally. You mentioned that, you know, are there going to be some that are more efficient, if you like, because your results seem to be like, okay, it's when it comes to CO2, the future is bleak. So why bother having plants? I don't know.
Okay, I didn't try to sound bleak. I just so the plant species we compared, there was so first of all, this is not my area of expertise, so we really should talk. Tiana Planusha would be the person to answer this best. But from my understanding as a chemist, the plant species that we looked at, they had two of them had a limited CO2 removal capability at light levels that you usually find indoors. Of course, if you put plants directly at the window, you might get higher light levels. And that's why we collected these light response curves. So if you have high illumination through whatever means, you can remove CO2 for sure. And different plant species will have different behaviors. But we did try to spread across quite a different range of plant types that are commonly used as houseplants. But it's definitely not something we should ignore. It definitely is possible to have a CO2 effect, but you would need light. So if you then spend lots of energy having additional lighting, you need to consider that. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I can also see a couple of more questions there, which has been put in the chat box rather than the Q&A. So one is from Darpan Das. With regard to Sandpit application, what is the definition of ECR? Are new lectures counted as ECR? Yes, so the ECR, I believe the standard application, the definition of ECR is around 8 years after the PhD, if I remember correctly. So we use the same sort of definition there. But for the Sandpits, actually, it could be from anybody. It doesn't need to be an ECR. It could be PDRAs, ECRs, professors, industrial collaborators. Anybody is eligible actually for the Sandpit funding. But we will prepare the eligibility criteria and the details of the call at some point. The ECR is important for the fellowship, the mini fellowships, because they are designed for them, and they could be, so this is where I think the ECR criteria will come in force. For Sandpit applications, it will be open for, for everyone. If that answers your question. There is also a question from Gareth Raymond, and they say, are there any ideas that can be utilized from Earthship design to use in more conventional buildings? It's a very interesting question. Is any of our colleagues wanted to answer this question? I did not fully get the grasp of it. Okay, so I can try then. It can be utilized for Earthship design to use more conventional buildings. Or maybe yes or no. Maybe we just look into it later on and respond to you, after that. Okay, so there is a question from Tom Childs. Says, is there a simple or standardized way to review and score the indoor health of a property, similar to how it might be scored for energy efficiency? Are any of the colleagues interested to answer this question? Yeah,
I can Prashant, I think this is a question that comes to us quite often, because there is within the UK there is an EPC system, energy performance system. There's a legal requirement now for every building to have. There are possibilities, and I'm aware of some of the work that I was involved 10 years ago. Other colleagues are trying to do, and perhaps there may be a possibility within the GREENIN network as well, because looking into the different. It comes into taking into account a building as a design and construction and then use and management element. So, for example, looking into putting up a matrix, it's all about developing a matrix, like what matrix we think that they relate to indoor environmental health. So when it comes to the environmental health in indoor building, this is not only about the air, it's about the chemical hazards, biological hazards, ergonomical hazards, and then some physical hazards. So you broadly look into these 4 domains. And I think there's a possibility that if we can come up with surrogate measures from these 4 broader hazards or the risk elements, so there is a way forward that we can create a scoring system that based on these matrices that come from the chemical hazards, biological hazards, ergonomical hazards, and physical hazards, we may be able to propose a kind of a system that can tell about indoor environmental health.
Thank you. We got around 6 minutes actually to close this session. We might be able to take maybe 1 or 2 more questions. So if you have those questions, either put in the chat box or Q&A or raise your hand. Anyway would work.
Gareth, you should be able to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Hiya. Thank you for letting me do this. So Earth ships use air circulation and thermal mass to circulate air through a building using no power. So is there something that we can adapt into more types of buildings? Typically on the south-facing side, they will have a greenhouse, which will be pulling air out of the building. On the northern side, they will have tubes running through an earthen bank that will be cooling down and removing or equalising the air temperature inside the tubes, bringing the air into the building, and then passing it through the building and then into the greenhouse and then outside through the open windows in the greenhouse, keeping the air temperatures typically between sort of 18 and 21 degrees all times of the year. Is this something that we can adapt into other types of buildings by using thermal mass?
I think that's a very interesting concept, actually. When looking at this image, it makes sense of using the natural, the natural temperature gradient to move the air from one side to another, which I believe which is quite possible. But I guess it also depends on the building design as well. So if you've got a lot more compartments in there, then how do you move the air, from one place to another? Because usually you might end up having, the doors or the windows. And if they both are shut, then it means that you are basically closing the entry of the air from one area to another. But overall, this concept looks very interesting. And if you see any ideas which could really, bring in the greening into this perspective, could be very interesting ideas for the fellowship or for the Sandpit application. So we would encourage you to keep thinking about along these lines. And maybe, we could consider actually, as part of some of the opportunities in future.
Yeah, I'll leave my email address in the chat if anyone wants to get in contact and discuss a potential project.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, so I think this takes us to the last couple of minutes of this launch webinar. So just to say that all the sessions have been very engaging, and we're so grateful for all of you to join from different places, and I could see a number of colleagues coming from different parts of the world. This has been this is a fantastic opportunity for all of us to work together, and I could clearly see that from the Mentimeter, we could see a lot of interest in some of those areas and some new ideas there. So we'll work on those ideas to bring together some themes actually which could be carried forward as part of the the network Sandpit programs. As I said, and our colleagues presented that there is a opportunity for you to build some proposals for the Sandpits. So we will encourage you to keep thinking about some of the ideas which could fit into there. So when the opportunity comes in, that could allow you to make an application for it. But at the same time, if you join the membership, then you will also be able to find the collaborators, and that could allow you to build your project consortium there. The another thing was the ECR fellowships. We are very keen as a network to support our early career researchers. So might be worth thinking about what you'd like to do in this particular domain and how the network could support us. So we'll be opening up those calls at some point very soon. So this could be an opportunity to take forward there as well. The big opportunity could also be that if you are interested to be our webinar, the speaker, so please do send us an email, we are filling up those places. This doesn't need to be the next month. It could be any time in the next year or so. Depending on the availability, we can slot you in. There is also, I guess, the biggest opportunity I see from the network perspective is to bring everyone together. So here you can see the membership form, and that will also allow you to join different working groups, which we talked about the rapid reviews. So we could use actually that list if you're interested to be contacted, to invite you to some of those, the reviews we have been planning, for this network. And we'll also be, having some of these meetings among these working groups. So that could be an opportunity to sort of, to engage with us directly. And also then start receiving the newsletters, which we will be producing time to time. The last thing in this domain is that if you are on any of these social media networks, so we'd request you to join and keep tagging us, keep sending us the information, and we'd love to support your work and promote any good work you have been doing. So please do, please do follow us on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and X, wherever you are, basically, on the channels. But before we close, I would like to thank all our fantastic speakers today, starting with Professor Sir Stephen Holgate, providing an amazing overview of the area. So he has been a figure in the, a leading figure in the clean air domain, and he put a very good perspective, followed by excellent presentations by our colleague, Zaheer, Katherine, Alana, Sukumar, and Nick. They've been providing the information on the opportunities there. And then our collaborators, Jens and Christian, they did, they presented really what's going on the field. So it's really, very instrumental in terms of what you could implement in your, indoor spaces in terms of the form, and then what the science says in terms of, the benefits you could have for the, the indoor air quality. So, and then last but not the least, actually, there's been a number of colleagues who have been on the back working really hard, especially Charlotte, who has been putting all these programs together, and then How and Elisa, who has worked hard on the slides to sort of, bring everything together, apart from the contributions from across the team, from the GREENIN network and our other ECR sort of researchers there. So yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today, for your time, and we look forward to working together on this GREENIN journey for at least for the next 2 years, building ideas, exchanging knowledge, doing some work, together to make this world a better place. So with that, thank you very much, everyone. And we look forward to see you in the upcoming activities. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Prashant. Bye, Charlotte.